All right, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank you for tuning in for the second installation for the devlog that I'll be working on. Once again, essentially, this is a devlog series for a game that I am creating using the Unreal Engine, um, pretty much using with no experience and using simply just tutorials found online. I did release the first video, I'd say about a week ago, and the response has been pretty good. I have gotten a lot of feedback. I've gotten some new subscribers and such, which I want to thank you all for. Very, very thankful for the support. The support from the channel definitely helps give me that inspiration to continue making these videos, and by making the videos, ultimately continuing to push myself artistically and creatively in this project. There has been quite a bit of updates since the last video, not only in the game itself, but in terms of the development of the project. I have decided which way I kind of want to take the game. I know the last video I spoke about maybe doing like a adventure RPG game. I have gone ahead and changed that around just a little bit since. I have decided now to go ahead and start working on a survival RPG instead. Um, Essentially, something really expansive. I've been playing a few games lately that have really triggered that inspiration, and I'll get into some more details about it here. But without further ado, let me go ahead and show you what I've done so far. Be ready. There are a lot of differences that I've made here. So let's take a look. Um, let's see here, hit play. So here we are. So I know it's a lot to take in at once, but I will go ahead and break it down in just a moment. Essentially, I have gone ahead and right in the Unreal Marketplace, they do have preloaded skins. And I've just gone ahead and used one from the Paragon game just as a placeholder. That is something I do want to stress throughout this devlog is a lot of what you're seeing right now will be used solely as placeholders. A lot of what you're seeing here are materials and meshes that came as starter content, and I've just gone in and kind of customized them a bit, changed the colors and the hue, and so on and so forth. So everything you see here is not set in stone in terms of the final appearance, but it does give a really good indication of how I want things to look. So first we have our character here, a little bit of a sci-fi guy here. I'll explain a little bit of the story as to why I picked this little sci-fi guy. Um, Essentially, what I'll do is I'll give you guys a quick little tour walking around, and as I do that, I'll explain a bit of what I've decided to do with this game. So as I said, there's a lot of static meshes here. You'll see it says preview everywhere because of the um, starter content stuff that I decided to use. Um, but essentially, like I said, I will be building a survival RPG game. What I want to do, I am a huge, huge fan of the Battlestar Galactica. Not only the original story, but all of the remakes. And actually, there's rumor a new one's coming soon, as well as the 100. The 100 I find has this very loose link to Battlestar Galactica, I find. But for those unfamiliar, essentially, it's a story of humanity. In the future, we are forced to live in space. I don't want to give away too much of the story in case somebody wants to check it out. But we're forced to live in space. We have to abandon Earth, and we end up living in space for centuries and centuries. Um, that is essentially the bit that I want to take out of the story. At that point, the story at that point switches. Without telling you what happens in Battlestar Galactica, what I want to happen here is I want humanity to have been living in space for so long that they can no longer do so. Their resources are running low. There's strife among citizens up there. Um, Essentially, it's getting really hard to stay up in space with humanity as it is. So what I'm looking to do is create a game where a character is chosen and sent down to this planet, whatever planet may be in the orbit at that time. I'm not quite sure. I haven't figured out that part of the story, but overall, he's sent down here, and essentially he's sent down here to survive and hopefully pretty much reestablish humanity on this new planet. Um, what intrigues me about this idea is it takes the basic knowledge of survival, um, anything that you know about surviving on Earth, and pretty much throws you into this whole new dilemma. The dilemma being you haven't lived on Earth in centuries, so a lot of what you may know already does not apply. A lot of the technology that you might have had then probably isn't working now because of how many centuries have gone by. And essentially, it just makes you have to rethink of rethink your survival on this planet. So I do plan on having it set up where it looks like the character landed here, crash landed, and obviously is exploring this alien planet. Obviously, a lot of these are humanistic meshes and stuff, which I've gone ahead and just kind of redid the color and such to make them more alien like, except for that item right there. That I got from Paragon, kind of moving flowers. Um, but yeah, essentially, I'll continue to build out the landscape. Um, there was a great tutorial actually on YouTube that I'll link out in the. I'll throw a link in the top as well as in the bio from Game Dev Academy, and he goes into a lot of the details, really well explained details on how to use meshes and create your landscape and such. So you'll notice how I started sculpting out the ground, creating almost like a little cabin. I wouldn't say a cave, but more like a dugout of rock here. Um, I have started playing around with different textures, so you'll notice there's like a lighter brown texture against the wall versus the darker brown on the floor here. So yeah, just a basic layout. None of this is set in stone. Again, it's just to get the idea down. And actually, you guys will notice that I'm moving a little bit smoother in terms of the camera. What I decided to do actually is I took my Xbox controller, my Xbox One Pro controller, the metal one, and I actually have it plugged right into the PC. So I'm actually able now to just move the camera using the controller of the Xbox, which is a little bit more native to me. I do like playing on Xbox more. Makes it a little bit easier to move around, move the camera around, especially when it comes to editing and stuff. So yeah, so let's take a quick look around here. I got like the dark red grass and the ferns and different rocks with this like bright orange moss, I guess you can call it, growing out of it. And you got the trees up there with the movement. Not a huge fan of these trees, but they work for now. And slowly just sculpting out the land. It's still jagged in some spots. I just gotta go through it. I'm doing this very slow. Usually you do the whole map at once. I'm kind of just doing it piece by piece and creating little areas here. Testing out like a lot of grass here with some of those ferns. And essentially what's going to happen too is I'm going to, a lot of the resources that the character will need to collect, I'll throw around this map. Like maybe this fern will give out a certain material that the character can collect. Maybe he can collect bark off of the tree, etc., etc. Seeing that it is meant to be a survival RPG, there's going to be a lot of factors the player will have to keep an eye on. Obviously, there's health. There's maybe even body temperature, hunger, thirst. Those are the kind of things I like in different games. Like I've been playing DayZ, Survivor Arc, or like those different ones. I think that's a really good aspect to throw in and makes it a little bit more realistic. So I'll definitely throw that in, and then maybe include some of these materials and have some of these meshes actually act as resources that the player can collect. That's something I'm going to work on next. That's going to be a big project to work on, is like a whole inventory system, how to pick stuff up, how to store stuff, how to open up a start menu. That's the stuff I'll be working on next to get that going there. So yeah, eventually the plot of the game is essentially just to survive on this planet. But I have so many ideas of how I want this to expand. So for example, seeing like when the game first starts, I want it where it's more just surviving, maybe just the night, making sure you have a shelter, making sure you get food. From there, your goal then becomes, building a shelter that you can actually live in and live on in this environment. Maybe start hunting and stuff like that. And then as you survive, obviously you have bigger problems to deal with. I don't know quite when, but maybe I'll start introducing, hostile species or hostile aliens on this planet, and then they become people that you have to hide from. Or it's there's so much that can happen that it's I'm just scratching the surface of possibilities. Um, like I definitely want like a crafting system. Like let's say you pick up, I don't know, let's say you pick up two different a vegetable and then a alien fruit. Maybe you're able to combine them and get a potion or some kind of health, something like that. Like definitely a lot that I can take from different games that I want to apply. Um, there's so many different routes that this can go in. Um, and then maybe ultimately, what I would like is to maybe implement some aspects of Fallout, where once you feel you're established, maybe now the point is to start calling some of the citizens from the spaceship in the sky and have them start sending citizens down. And once those citizens land on the planet, maybe now they can help you create settlements and stuff like that. And that whole Fallout vibe. Huge fan of that. So I definitely think that's something I'm going to apply here. Um, maybe once there's a good amount of humans down here, there's different factions that start setting up. Maybe there's wars between humans and other aliens. Because keep in mind, we did land on an alien planet. Maybe we're taking over somebody else's planet. Who knows? So much that can go on. But yeah, definitely gonna keep working on that. So yeah, these are the static meshes that I've been working on. This area here is my quote unquote starting point. This is just where I'm kind of testing out I guess I would call it like a jungle environment, where obviously there's gonna be a lot of trees, a lot of foliage and stuff like that. But then there is something here that I want to show you guys. Let me escape here. So, like I said, I have been very busy. Whoops. Where am I? There we go. Been working on this. Now, because this is going to be a massive, bear with me here. Let me just find my character. Here we go. Because this will be a massive map, and obviously the landscape I'm working on right now is actually smaller than I would want it to be. I actually would like a bigger game. I'm actually just going to use this as like a testing point. But essentially, there will be a huge environment here. Like that's where I've just showed you guys. I do want to make like a bunch of ravines, mountains, some water. Just fill this up, make it a whole expansive environment that somebody can explore. Obviously, for a full game, I'll want this a little bit bigger if I want to make this an open world game. But for now, just getting started, it's a great playground just to get started on getting everything lined up and stuff like that. But what I want to show you guys here is actually what I'm working on, another, not side project because obviously it's part of the game, but another portion that I'm working on. Just want to get my character closer so I can start it here. And here we go. So this here is going to be, and that's where we were just a minute ago. This is going to be actually a town that I'm working on. This town is actually going to have a bunch of aliens living in it. This here I was playing with textures. I gave it like this metallic fortress look. Not sure what I'll do, if I'll keep that, but we'll see. And pretty much just trying to enclose this all in. Eventually I'll close that side out too. But this here is actually just going to be like a little town with some aliens in here. So what I have in my mind right now is maybe eventually as the character develops, maybe you have enough strength or enough energy or resources that you discover this town, and it gives you a place to be able to maybe come in and trade and get some missions and stuff like that. So using the trick that I learned from Raymond on Project Feline, I'll leave a link in the description on that. He's the guy I mentioned in the first devlog. I went ahead and created some base blocks here to kind of close out what I'll ultimately create. And I created the starting point of what's going to be like this huge village town. And just threw in some placeholders. These are going to be NPCs. Some of which you'll be able to talk to, interact. Some of which are just gonna be there for looks. Like I got these two guys just standing up here talking. This guy down here with what might be a market. Again, rough sketching, just leaving things out, leaving myself little notes here. Um, this guy here was able to start playing around with animations. Got him just kind of working on building this little building here. Obviously, they're definitely not going to stay looking like that. It's just to get the placeholder, so it looks like something's happening. Little placeholder here with some fire. Again, just leaving myself notes as I'm developing now. Just a way, like, with the fire element, maybe once you have some resources, you can bring it to a fire and start cooking them together. Maybe, this is a good place to heat yourself up if your body temperature is dropping too low. Things that have definitely been done before, but definitely things I want to implement in this game and maybe even expand upon it even further. And then this thing, which has probably been capturing your eye, is my test at water. Just playing around with some of the the materials in the game. Obviously, I do need to make it so I can fall through it. I do want it maybe a little less, maybe a little bit more translucent so I can see through it, find a way to drop the opacity a bit. The gentleman at Game Dev Academy actually does have a really good tutorial where he does make water. And actually, I do plan on using his tutorial to do so. So definitely check out his link if that's something you want to check out before I get to it. He has a really good tutorial where he shows you how to use the plane to go ahead and make water so that not only does it look like natural water from the top, but you can actually go into the water and it'll change the color and everything like that, so it looks like you're under the water. So I definitely plan on adding all that in. But for now, I'm just doing placeholders just to kind of show where everything's going to lay out. So obviously, like, this will have water going through it. Maybe make this like a dam or something where the water can flow out. This is more just to cover the side of the map. I'll show you guys what it looks like. Looks like this currently. So I just want to put something so that I'll trick the eye to make it look like there is more back there, but just can't get there. So yeah, so the plan is probably the rest of today I'll go ahead and finish creating this wall. I'll probably bring it around, connect this here, and then once that's connected, I'll get started on going and building this town up. So now that this is the base, this will probably be maybe the square here. Like, by square I mean just like the focal point, and I'll just start building up. Because this is all from scratch, the sky's the limit. Literally, pretty much can build this however I want. So I'm kind of just placing things down, seeing how I like it, and moving it around like a big puzzle. So not sure if I'll make this like a one level map or if I'll start building up, making like tree houses or something like that. But either way, we'll play around. We'll see how it all goes. But yeah, the plan is to continue finishing this fort. And by fort, I just mean the enclosure. Start building this up some more, and then start slowly building out, not permanent ones, but start switching out some of these materials. And then the other big project is getting the inventory system started. So that's going to be the biggest one. Once I have the inventory system in place, then I'll be able to actually like walk up to items, pick them up, use them, and pretty much assign different characteristics to different items. So I'll be able to create like food items that give you health, items that'll be used just as like trading for barter, stuff like that. So there's definitely going to be a lot of 3D modeling involved. I'll definitely start making some videos on those as I do that, because I'm also learning that as I go. For example, I'm working on a 3D model of what I would say is like an MRE, meal ready to eat, like the military uses. Essentially, in the storyline, I'm going to use it as that's all they had left up in the ship, and even those are starting to run low and starting to go bad. So the character here does bring like one or two with them, just so you have something to start the game with. But then we'll go from there. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of like alien fruits, alien vegetables. who knows? Maybe the ship up there starts sending down resources, so maybe I do have some human resources I can take advantage of. So much I can do, and I really can't wait to dive into this more and continue playing with this more and being able to bring you guys more of the storyline and such. Like I do have the Discord channel up and running with a couple people I've selected so far to provide some insight into the development of the game. Ultimately, I do plan on opening that channel up through a Patreon. So maybe for like just to help support the channel, I'd say maybe like $1 a month or something like that. So that way I have some income coming in for the game where I can apply that directly towards buying more skins, different characters, different materials, stuff like that, just to make this game, really, really good. I definitely want to make sure it's a self-efficient project. I don't want to invest too much as I do have other projects, visual, like graphic design and some custom art projects I'm working on, so I can't invest too much over there on that. Um, but yeah, huge undertaking, but it's a challenge that I'm looking forward to taking. It's really fun. It's almost like playing in a sandbox. So yeah, I definitely look forward to keep doing that. I look forward to starting to develop the story of the main character, the look of the main character. Although this skin that I'm using right now is really cool, and I'm thankful for Epic for allowing me to use it. I do want to get something that's going to fit the story a little bit better. Um, you know, um, not just I'm not sure just yet. I mean, it could be completely tattered up. He could have maybe a light armor suit that maybe they use up in the spaceship. Who knows? But there will be some customization options where maybe ultimately a character could build himself up to look like this. But yeah, so yeah, that's the quick update of the game so far. Now that I have a theme and kind of a plot that I want to work with, it has become a little bit easier in terms of development for this. But yes, I hope you guys enjoy. If you have any questions, any comments, any feedback, anything like that, please feel free to leave it below in the comments. Um, Once again, if you haven't subscribed, I would highly appreciate if you click the red button there and subscribe. That way you get all of the updates as soon as they come out. Again, all of the subscriptions, all of the feedback, all the comments I'm getting is giving me a lot of inspiration to continue doing this. And in that inspiration is just a good push to continue, making it and making sure that this comes out well. So yes, once again, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit the little bell icon. That way you get all the notifications. And I look forward to continue working on this and bringing you guys the next installation to the devlog. Thank you, and have a great one, guys. Thank you.